The normal way,
I'm sorry?
the normal way in this case it will be sort from the highest volume to lowest volume. In this case, it changes a bit. Yeah? You need to sort the plan to get the traction. Yeah?
Right. No, but sort from highest volume, you mean the one which has the biggest volume? Write that first.
Important keywords. Yeah?
Right.
You
won't write for that for the next 6 to 8 months.
Yes. So the thing here is that if you start a new project specifically, in this case, usually this is right. You actually go with the queries, check the search demand, etc. In my situation, actually, the first thing that I do is creating some contextual domains. I will explain what it is. Let's say this is a domain, not a website, just an area. This is another one. This is another one, and let's say this is another one. In this case, let's say this thing here is, someone was asking this question, that's why I'm putting it here. Let's say this is about computer science, okay? And this is just science. And this is just student. And this is computer science student. Computer science student. So the thing here is that also imagine that this type of main authorities websites and the minor authorities, they are also distributed in this specific knowledge domains. You will have some really main authorities in computer science. You will have some other types of authorities in justice student and some other types of authorities in this area too. The first thing that you should be choosing is actually your source context. I mentioned this before. What this website is doing and how it is making the money. According to that, let's say this is your source context, you will need to create a connection to yourself from all these specific points. And at the same time, you will need to create a topical map according to all these minor and major sources in all these context domains as well. And your topical map will need to follow all these areas. The next step is prioritization. You will need to prioritize not according to only the topics, according to the first website that you can actually eliminate. If you have an easy target in this whole list, start creating from them and make it more important for your own website as well by creating a kind of logic with them. Then I actually check the queries. Then I start to give them a new meaning or a new connection as much as possible. For instance, Excel the other day, she was creating content brief just for the church management. Let's say the company is actually a software management company, and they have a software for church management. I know nothing about church. I'm from Turkey, basically. But the thing here is that if you are a software company, everything can't be about just church and church management. You will need to talk about the software and coding as well. And at the same time, if it is about church management, the church there, you will need to augment the context. For instance, church management. Church here will be actually community, basically. And from here, the specific church will be connected to some other sections too. You will need to find similarities and process them as well. Whenever you process something, you will be touching one of these sources. Whenever you are able to outrank someone or some of these alternative terms and topics, it will be easier to outrank others in church management as well. So usually it is like, if I am able to outrank this, and you trust me, I will do it this one too, one by one for all these content and context areas. And by bringing all these topics back to your own website, mainly. The good thing here is that if you're able to manage to dominate all these context domains, at the end of the day, all these websites, they will need to be similar to you to rank. They will also need to change their own content to be similar to you. If they choose two different, search engine won't rank them. Because you are changing connections between topics as well. You show new associations. Once you are the authority, other sources will need to use these ones too. And it will even make you more and more of it. So usually this is actually how I approach it. Before even creating topical map, it starts from competitors, and competitors are chosen according to this context.
So let me see whether I've understood. Tell me if I've understood this correctly. I'll take another example. I like the dog niche. So let's say that I have a website now new, Labrador guide. Okay, Lab is a type of dog. So first thing which I do is I catch dogs as my major niche. I catch Labradors, right? Maybe I say dog food. Would that come under dogs?
If you go with the dog food, there are really good amount of queries and there are really good amount of domains for that. Probably you won't be able to outrank one of these, or if you want to outrank one of these, you will need to create a really good amount of content, which will be changing the real topic of the website. So in this case, you can make it maybe how to feed a dog, rather than dog food brains, dog food, etc. Or dog allergies or dog health. This will be easier there to keep it the minimum.
Okay. So say,
Smaller bubble.
Yes.
so say dog hair. Okay. So what I do then is I check all the websites, authority and non-authority websites indoors. I then check all the authority and non-authority websites indoors. And I check all the authority and non-authority websites in dog hair.
Yes.
After this, what do I do?
Well, how do you make money?
Both ads and affiliate.
Affiliate.
Ads and affiliate.
Okay, but as an affiliate, what products do they buy first?
So say for dogs, it will be dog food, dog kennels, dog toys. Basically, a variety of dog products, dog training, ebooks, dog training courses.
Okay. The first thing here is that to be able to prioritize one of these, to be able to choose your competitor, the minor competitor, you have to actually choose the easiest one first. If you are lucky a little bit, the easiest one will be the easiest one to rank as well. And also it will be bringing you direct the monetization. Because in certain situations, I need to defer the monetization. To be able to show that this is one of the authority sources, I need to talk about or process content items from the areas that we are not able to monetize so early. So if this is the situation, sometimes I directly change the business model, or if it is not the situation, I usually try to create a contextual connection. So in this case, let's say we go with the dog toys, and if you go with the dog toys, in this case, actually, it will be connected back to the dog health from a point, because if a dog is not able to spend that energy, it will be an issue for, again, the dog health and the dog caring as well. Dog health will be going to the dog caring, and from there you will be going to the dog food one more time, and from this section you will be going to the actual dog breeds one more time. From every breed, the energy level needs will be changing, and from there toy and the games will be changing again. Whenever you go, or whenever you actually follow this chamber with associations and the combinations, you will create a kind of consolidation. While creating the consolidation, just be sure that the competitor that you have chosen, they don't have the actual context that you are choosing as well. The thing here is that, it is one of the slides as well. Imagine that there are really good amount of this type of context areas, okay? So if there is a website that covers all of them, it is easier to rank. I wouldn't like to rank a different website for every different context area. It is harder because I will need to crawl 10 different websites. I will ask myself, are these websites trustworthy? 10 different computation, 10 different iteration. No need for that. That's why if you're able to cover more things while eliminating these minor sources, it will be very much easier for you to grow actually. So in this case too, to be able to create a topical map, whichever product is very much more important for you, start from there, choose your competitor from that area as well, unless that competitor is really strong. Okay. If it is really strong, I go with some side sections, then I go back to the central area.
So essentially, now say suppose now I've bought say dog products, right? Dog toys, okay? So I have now a list of 5,000 toys, right? And I decide, because I have a huge content team, that I will have quality content reviewing 5,000 articles, reviewing the 5,000 products. In addition to that, maybe say 200 articles, giving best access or whatever.
Yes.
Okay? Now, in addition to that, where does the dog health FF articles come in? Do I first finish my 200 plus 5,000 and then I start on this? Or how does that work?
I am sure that at some point, so there is something that's called proximity search. First, I need to explain it. So let's say this is an article, okay? I give some gaps and spaces. If you mention the dog here and health in this area, and the word count between these two is just 5, it means that actually this is a context vector, as in the embeddings as well. So from search engine point of view, one of the ways of understanding the context vectors and the knowledge domains is checking the proximity between two words. If you mention dog and health, closely related to each other, and in a way they are also close, And if it repeats in your documents, you have to start to process this topic as well. If in this specific topic, for instance, you talk about dog food, in there you will need to talk about dog ingredients, and it will be directly connected to actual dog health, because I work in the industry, and actually 3 websites already there. Anything there is about dog breeds, and the dog food, and the dog health. Then the dog disease is actually coming. So when you go for the dog food directly, since every food ingredient and the vitamin is solving an issue in the dog body and the dog anatomy, then you will need to start to actually process it. And if you have enough sources, go for dog health. If you don't have enough sources, go for dog caring. From there, actually dog colors or other types of tools, and also the health can come too. There is one more method that actually I use sometimes. Let's say you don't have enough sources because, as I say, let's say this major competitor is in the health, and even the minor ones are really big. Sometimes there is something that I use as I call quality notes. Maybe you have seen it a few times, because some of the briefs are really detailed compared to others.
We got a new membership.
Social, we are that kind of group anyway. We are not assigned to, then we created it. So now you are right close. Yeah. Okay. When I say the quality note, it is something like this. Let's say this is a web page, this is a web page, this is a web page, this is a web page too. You create another one just at the middle. All of them actually in a way interconnected to each other. This one too. The quality note in this area, it's quality at least 4 or 5 times more compared to these ones. And this one directly goes to your homepage. If this one is quality enough, you can decrease quality in these ones. There is a research called actually propagation of trust. The trust and the quality of this document will be reflected on others. So in this case, if you don't have enough budget, you can write only one of them in a really extensive and quality way. The other 4, the cost might be even 30% of that one as well. So in this case, if this health issue or topic, if it is not a priority for you, you can try this. The first one can be really quality, and during this time you can publish other quality articles from other area, and these other 4, they don't have to be that detailed or quality anymore. This way, whenever I put, it's like constructing a building. Every stone in the building doesn't have to be like solid or expensive here. We just do a solid column, but then walls don't have to be solid, for instance, or carrying weight.
Pillars, and then you have the bricks in the middle.
Yes, this quality note is basically a way of telling search engine that we have unique information, we have expertise, and we also have relevance to these. These are for actually creating relevance, because if you're able to rank targeted queries with this page, and if the targeted queries of this page as well, if they're related to each other, they will be supporting each other as well. So in this case, instead of writing 200, you can write just 10 like this, then 20 like this, and you can continue from your own topic as well.
When you mean this is connected back to the home page, you mean this is linked back to the home page, or the home page linked
Home
back
page
to
is linking this quality note, or search engine won't find it. Timeline, and this is first. These are later. First impression, as you say.
And so now when you talk about this, so currently when I started out, I didn't have knowledge of the semantic and all that. 2016 when I started on these websites. So if I want to completely rewrite my plan in terms of content outline, how would I need to go about it?
That question is actually...
I should either have to wait for your course for that.
It might take 1 year to explain to Ask Excel, or Excel can explain it actually to you. She just has given a break for 1 month. She came back and she needed to relearn, because it's not like it. You will need a thought stream. And for instance, I have trained actually one person. I can even show you a testimonial from United States. He directly told me that actually in your brain you have a thought stream while doing these things. Thought stream. Basically, a thought is connected to another thought. There is a stream of thoughts. Yes. And in this case, actually, from time to time he was stopping me so that I can explain why it is like that. So if I explain it, basics will make sense. I can give the basics, but giving all things really long.
New paper?
I need a empty.
Can we see your...
I guess it's on the table there. You should solve the paper.
They just get one from there. Thank you.
Ready? Ready?
Paper.
Paper, that's okay. We have this. So let's say this is web page. Give me a query. A search query. Give me.
So best, see, let's say, since you're talking about docs, best dog column.
Okay. So first thing is that you will need to parse the query, okay? And try to get the word boundaries, color, dog, best you have here. So the best in this area, it is a comparative term. And you will need to rewrite your query. For instance, what else you can put here instead of best, but it won't change the context entirely, but just slightly.
So top.
Do you have any example? I will replace best. Leather dog colors it might be, but leather is not comparative. The word here is an adjective. You will need to
replace top.
Top, it will be, but it's too similar.
Okay. Interesting. It's not comparative.
Comparative.
Maybe
Smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, hardest, or softest, strongest. Okay, so
Most
durable, most durable, and other types of comparatives. You will need to write all of them in this area.
Okay.
Then, at the same time, when it comes to the dog color, what a dog color actually has in terms of the product. Maybe it has a kind of width or size or height or material. You said leather, for instance, or material type or etc. And at the same time, the dog colors, they are changing according to the dog grades as well. And all these things will be changing according to the dog grades one more time. The thing here is that, actually, to be able to augment this query, you will need to understand a few concepts. One is the correlative query. According to the search engine engineers, my voice is going this way, speaking is all harder. So, according to the correlative queries, you should actually guess the next query of the user or the previous query of the user, because these things will be searched together. And you will need to unite these things in a single context. But usually, for the comparative ones, I go with actually directly a number. If you see a comparative thing, I always write a number. Let's say just 9. When it comes to choosing the number, most of the time actually I am choosing 10 or 20 rather than 5, 15. Because if you actually just Google, we search for 10 best dog colors, then the 15, then the 20, then the 7. Results will be changing. Even the numeric closeness is important there. And 10 is the most popular number in the queries. That's why I'm using 10, because top 10 is easier than telling top 7, basically. But in this example, let's say we are saying 9. After that, directly in the initial section, this area, this is where actually I call as general summary. Whatever you write in your general summary, your conclusion section will need to be connected to that fact. It's important to actually make the author to remember that they will need to always stay in the context. When I say stay in the context, it's something like this. This line here, it is actually a context vector. When we say word embeddings, vector is actually, word vector is actually a line like this. Embedding is numeric value or numeric coordinates of these type of lines. When I say context vector, if you create a really good article, vector is actually straight. It's like this, straight. But if a document has broken context, it goes like this. Multiple lines, and all of them actually in a different place. This is actually the biggest issue in today's article writing. In my methodology, in my authorship rules, usually every unification of H2 goes here. If I have a heading 2 here, or here and here, I unite these and I put them into the general summary directly. And in the conclusion section, basically, we give this general summaries connection directly to the end as well, because based on distributional semantics, you have to use your context terms, which appears in this area everywhere in the web page. So this conclusion section helps me to keep the authors on the track, basically. When it comes to this numeric value, in this area, I will be using two lists. One is in the summary section before the first H2. The other one is a heading list. After the heading list is finished, I will put a single H2 until the conclusion. It will be asking more comparative questions you already have given them. For instance, here we tell best. But if the best is most durable, I am asking the most durable. Then I am also asking as an H3, why? Letters, material. If it is not material, it might be something else. Maybe production methodology. Maybe something. I'm not expert on dog color, so I'm not able to give that much samples. But there might be many reasons that it is durable. So then I am explaining that. In this section, smallest will be connected to the actual smallest dog breeds because they will be using smallest letters as well. And it will be actually your correlative query because dog in this area, dog is a hypernym, which means a class name, and the small dog breed instance there, it will be a member of this specific class, and I will be creating relevance connection here too. It requires a little bit too much thing, and you ask the question, but it's hard to answer.
No, at least the blueprint makes a lot of sense. So even if it helps me,
I don't many other things actually. You can ask it to the Excel. You can also explain some parts, but for instance, even the order of the products actually matter because sometimes I go to the Google Shop or Google Shopping. I check the Google reviews from Google Shopping. Then I check the parameters there. When I say parameter, if you search for dog color and if you go to the Google Shopping, they will be giving you the criteria anyway. Top reviewed brands, small, big, blah, blah, blah.
Your product speed, you can specify all these different attributes about your product.
Yes, and reflect these attributes in this area. Choose the most important attributes, and this heading list, product list here, or ranked product list, it is a representative list. But you will need to vary this specific list according to the different criteria and different attributes. And you are doing it in this way. So there is also one more thing. You see this line here? It is important because it's actually a border between main content and supplemental content. At the same time, macro context and micro context. So in this case, these are main answers, and these are variations of the main answers, and from the variations, we link out to the most relevant part. I am losing my voice, but I hope it helps.
yes, please. So would any tool help me do this faster? Something like a circle, something here?
In the course, you will learn it, I can tell. Yes? These two things are more supported.
Right.
Yeah. Because if you break the context, for instance, while talking about the best dog color, if you just start to talk about, even if it is slight difference, for instance, if in Svalbard website that I will be giving an example, I am talking about benefits of water. More of them is physical performance. But I can't directly write there physical performance because physical performance has many different contexts. Athletic performance is one of them. Other types of things are also there too. So in this case, actually, I need to tell that physical performance from medical point of view. So then I can talk about the water. You will always need to connect these things to each other. The composition and the flow always should be connected. And whenever you move on to the next section, you're actually focusing on a sub-instance of this specific class based on criteria, and they should be measurable in a way too.
Interesting. Thank you.
We have 3 more minutes.
3 minutes.